Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Slime Boss here, and welcome back to another discussion, fairy fountain, whatever you want to call it. I am joined by my
Thing.
usual co-host, Hylian Hero. How's it going?
It's definitely been a day. Been a
Uh,
good day. It's
it's
just
been
been a
a
long
good day.
day.
Yeah. So Nintendo finally out and said it. I feel like they only did this because they had a gun to their head, which makes me feel like they didn't even have plans to show it off in January. Uh,
I disagree, but that's fair.
do you think that that lifestyle trailer, Pharrell Williams and Sabrina Carpenter, let's just call it Imagine Dragons for the Switch One, is that something that's still going to happen before April?
I think if that rumor is real, it depends on if they're doing a Super Bowl trailer.
So should we see the Switch 2 before April again?
If they're doing a Super Bowl trailer, yes. If not, probably not.
Okay. Well, I think we should just kind of stop beating around the bush. So what was your expectation going into this? I know we made a whole predictions video. I think we kind of overestimated what we were gonna do, but to be fair, this is probably in response to the leaks. We could still be right. Um, what was your expectation going into this before, like the night before?
So I mean, obviously all the rumors going around, we were like pretty unsure if it was going to happen or not. I was more so expecting a kind of second go around for the original Switch 1 trailer, so like people going around playing it. I
So
definitely
still what we were saying from the prediction.
yeah, I wasn't expecting like the white background, just showing off the hardware like
Hmm.
up close and personal. It makes sense. I think they don't need to explain the usage of the Switch the way they did back in the day.
Hmm.
I I mean, I honestly was really expecting to see the Switch games presentation announced, like the date announcement of the month. We got that. I was happy, and then we also saw that they're doing the hands-on events again for that, like they did the last time. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty par for the course compared to the Switch One's rollout, and I think we'll talk more about it later. But I think release timing is going to be pretty similar, where a couple months after April or so, we'll get the system.
Yeah. So the way I was feeling at first, I really hope you can't hear that. Um, I was feeling about the same. I was like, okay, we're just gonna get the lifestyle trailer. I'm still on team like this. You don't just shadow drop a full console like that. That you're completely shock.
On
You're like
on the
shocking
but
your consumer base.
On the contrary, though, like they did confirm last year that they were going to show it before the end of the fiscal year. The system, even if it hadn't have leaked, I don't think there's anything in that trailer that's very revolutionary.
That's
And
the other
it's,
thing.
I think their fear was that if they didn't come to the table with any games besides Mario Kart, people would get excited. They'd have live streams. They get a lot of groups together, and that could possibly open the door for more negative reactions rather than just watching it on your own and not really knowing what to expect.
Right. My concern, first of all, I hate the name. I think it's terrible.
I
Uh,
love it.
but I've already talked to a few people that have seen it that are casual Nintendo fans or just casual gamers in general, and they're like, I don't really see a purpose in upgrading. And purely, again, if you're someone that hasn't been looking at the leaks, and if you're looking at the trailer, all I see is a bigger Switch. They never really said, "Oh yeah, this looks better." We see a new Mario Kart game running on this thing, but I mean, me and everybody else were like, "Is that Mario Kart 8?" And then we saw the models close up, and we were like, "No, no, this is a new game." And
Yep.
so nothing about this trailer so far said, "Oh yeah, this is new," other than the magnetized Joy-Con. It's very hard to look at this from a like I've
I
never seen the Switch 2 in my life perspective.
I think the issue is the one, well, the two new features. The share button they just completely ignored. They even like erased the C button, the
Yeah,
C letter from that button. So clearly that's not being talked about until April. The other part was the big new thing being the ability to use it as a mouse.
that
They
was
they
not.
poorly
Yeah,
they poorly explained it.
I don't as I can at least see from that perspective like that you were just playing with the Joy-Con.
If
Like,
I didn't have the leaks to go off of, I wouldn't know what that was
yeah,
for.
I
That just looked like,
actually for I would say, oh yeah, those are the new grips or
yeah,
the new thingies,
yeah,
wrist
exactly.
straps. Like
Wrist
that's it.
straps, exactly.
That's it.
I don't think that was properly explained. So honestly, to their benefit, I do think the leak kind of helped them in that way because at
Yeah.
least the ones who needed to see it that way saw it that way. But to your point about people not wanting to upgrade, I mean that's totally fair. But I think
The
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 problem with it, the thing is they're not going to want to upgrade until they see games they want,
the
and that's
one
just not something
thing
that was here for it.
the one thing I was like, oh yeah, and there's a new Mario Kart, and they're like, oh yeah, never mind. I was like,
But that's the thing. It's like I'm not trying to be a pessimist here, but this isn't a new exciting thing, and we knew that
yeah,
from the moment this started being rumored. I don't think that's a bad thing. I would much rather it be a direct like switch to, hey, this is more powerful. Hey, you're still getting these amazing games, rather than let's say the Wii U, the N64 with its wacky controller. Like I
I
know the main thing I saw with people was they were a little upset that it's not super innovative, whatever. Um, but the thing is, like, I didn't want that because what if it sucks? And
right.
then we're stuck with another
Well,
5, 6 years of a mediocre Nintendo system that nobody buys.
we still got the bare minimum, right? We got a new gimmick,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly, and then just the name is what's bothering me, is because like they've done this in the past, even with like the DS and the DSi. Those are different. I feel like just like this screams an extension of the Switch, like the OLED or the Lite. Like it's still going to be in the same family of systems, and that's what bothers me, is that this is
But
supposed to be a generational leap, and it is in every way except for the name. Like
but how is this not any different than the PlayStation?
because the PlayStation always does that every
So
time.
now Nintendo's doing it,
Every time. Well, but it's the PlayStation. It's not the PlayStation Vita 2.
and this is a Switch.
No,
It
this is
switches.
not the Nintendo though. This is the Switch. This is the one
And this is
Switch.
a continuation of this
You
brand.
don't say the
It's
DS2.
I don't Here's the thing. I
You
don't
say
think
the
we're going
Super
back,
Nintendo.
but I don't think we're going back to non-switches. So like we might get the Nintendo Switch 3 and 4 in the future too. Like this might just
Why
be the new
can't
norm.
I mean why I mean it doesn't even switch anymore. Don't tell
Yes,
me,
it does.
don't tell me, don't tell
Just because you're switching the
this is a
controllers off,
Switch. It's literally in the
no,
trailer.
the
It
Switch is
Nintendo.
taking it in and out of the dock.
No,
It is
no. Look at the
switching the way you
logo. The
play.
logo says it all.
But
No, but for real,
you know
like you
damn well if
can't
they
call it
called
the
it the
Nintendo
Nintendo.
Snap. Like I mean,
Ex-
just a
that,
little bit
people
more,
would
just a little bit
people
more.
wouldn't understand it. People would think it's
Okay,
like
it's
an
just the next.
accessory or
It's
something.
the next
People
Nintendo.
would think it's an accessory. It's exactly the
What do
same
you
issue
think
we
they're
had
gonna
with the
say? The
Wii U.
GameCube is an accessory? What are you gonna do? Like put a cube on your N64, like the
But
32X or something?
N64 and GameCube are two very different names. You're just trying to be cute and call it, oh, it's the Nintendo Snap.
Well, why
The
can't you
only
just
one
call it something else? Is my
they
point.
could have called it the Super Nintendo Switch. I will say that is the one I do think they could have gone with. But I don't think this is an issue. Like
I,
five
I
years
just
from
think
now,
that we need to
when we,
abandon the Switch name.
it's their most popular system. It's going to be once it passes the DS in a little bit. Like, no, I'm sorry. This is their best branding they've had in a long time. Sure, it's okay to be bored with it, but this is what's making them money right now. This is what's really making them more interesting. And I get it. I get from a mindset of this is the first time that the next generation is just par for the course. Like not even the Wii U was like that. Even if you didn't call it, if you call it the Wii 2, it would have been more different. But I don't think that's a bad thing.
And
And I
also
think
this is a very weird situation because even if this should have happened 5 years ago or 3 years ago, right? It wouldn't have been called the Switch 2. It probably would have been called the Switch Pro. And a lot of people still believe it was
mm,
a thing that existed at some point. Um, and so what they had to do now is they had to include the new like having a Pro is just more powerful, right? Or the new 3DS, right?
yeah,
Now they also have a new gimmick. But then how do you, again, we're a little too far too late now, so it has to be the next generation. But going into the Switch 3 into the Switch 4, there's no room to innovate anymore because I mean, even with the PS5 Pro, people are like, we're not. There's no upgrade here. It runs a little better because this PS5 kind of was like a half and half, right? The PS5 Pro is that full complete package, right?
Right.
Either fidelity or stabilization or frame rate. And so where do you go from here? And Nintendo is an ideas guy, whereas PlayStation is run of the mill, where they're like, the next step, the next step, the next step, just graphics, graphics, graphics. Nintendo is always like, we won't even release an F-Zero unless we have a gimmick to it. And so they can't, again, this is a very weird situation because this just should have happened a long time ago. But it just seems weird to me. Just I don't know how else to describe
I
it.
think it feels weird to you because right now there's literally, besides Mario Kart, there's nothing else to talk about. When this April showcase comes and you see the next 3D Mario, potentially Animal Crossing, you get a release date trailer for Metroid Prime 4, I don't think you're going to be focusing on the name.
I
And I
want to
just have
focus
to,
on the console, like the hardware itself, and
it's
I
just,
can't do
it's a
that still.
Switch. It's not a, you're going to have those like little mouse peripheral thingies, not even peripherals, just the Joy-Cons. You're going to have a bigger system. It's going to probably, I sure hope it's going to have a different OS. I want to see more
That's
character.
that's what I'm worried about too. So
That's what I think that's really going to be the make it or break it in terms of the the system being different is if they bring the creativity back. Like I understood it for the basic Switch because it's not a powerful system. It really isn't.
oh yeah, that
And
OS is like slim.
and
It is.
exactly.
It's yeah.
And they kept it that way so it'd be fast.
Hmm.
They have so much. This is the biggest jump in power that Nintendo's done in well over a decade, almost a decade and a half. This
Oh
is
yeah.
huge.
It was a
And
beefier Wii U. I mean, the Wii U
exactly,
wasn't
like
anything crazy.
the Wii was a good bit more powerful than the Wii was. The Switch was marginally more powerful than the Wii U. And this is the first time since at least 2012. You may even go back to the GameCube days, really,
Yeah.
if you want to be like really think about it. But I mean, I just went over to YouTube to just check on the view count for the at least the English trailer today. It's already at 13 million views.
Hmm.
I haven't seen any confusion of like what it is or anything like that. And I mean, at the very least, they've won in that way. Like,
Right.
it sure, you can say it's boring. Sure, you can say it's a little bit underwhelming. And I'll agree with that to some extent. But I don't think that's a bad thing in the long run as long as Nintendo keeps it with the game quality.
Right. Yeah. I guess it's just me splitting hairs
And
here,
that's
but
fine. I think after the last like couple months of weeks, we've seen this stuff. It doesn't feel all that
yeah, that
exciting because we've seen it for months. This isn't new.
I know. It's
Now we just have
why would they
official
do
renders.
that? I mean, I am glad that we are out of this void because I mean, regardless of leaks or not, I mean, technically it could have been wrong in some universe, but just having a tangible link, like okay, it's real, it's happening. Like there's a little bit of a sense of relief, and my mind is just flowing with ideas right now, just
Look,
video wise.
we
So
we now have the exact date of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. It's a little farther out than I wanted.
is that the
We already have
presentation
yes,
or
it's the hardware and games showcase.
okay?
And then right after that they have the hands-on. I believe it's like the weekend after that. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's
the
the
first week of
weekend
April.
after that, going all the way until the end of June.
Beginning of June, actually.
Okay. That's the
But
other thing that worries me is
what
that we may not get until like June or July, which is a
well you
long
gotta
time.
think. What you gotta think is the Nintendo Switch presentation was second week or third week of January. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Hmm.
And it launched early March. So let's say showcases on the 2nd of April. Let's say it releases last week of May, first week of June. I don't think that's bad.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little bit of a wait, but I mean, this gap until April is going to be the hard one. Although there already is rumors from Nate and among other people saying there's going to be a Switch 1 Direct next month.
Yeah, we predicted
And
that
I
too. So
and I think that's going to be exciting. You'll see some more remakes and remasters to keep you busy until it's time. If we get a Super Bowl ad, I'm sure there'll be a little bit more gameplay for Mario Kart or something along those lines. And I don't remember who said it on. I think it was Blue Sky this morning, but now we get basically 2.5 months of third-party developers kind of being able to confirm their games are coming to Switch.
Yuka replay coming to the Nintendo.
But
All right,
I mean,
well,
it's
go
yeah,
ahead.
we're
Sorry,
good.
go ahead.
No, no, we're good. It's just it was a boring reveal because so much had leaked, and that's on Nintendo for taking too long. But it is a good system. It's a safe system, but it's a good system. As long as they don't have those Joy-Con drift issues and stuff like that, I think they're golden.
So again, it's very hard to look at this from a non-leaked perspective. Like, there's people out there that are looking
Exactly.
at this, and it's just like, what exactly did you show them? Mario Kart, magnets, and that's it. And
And
it's
that's
bigger.
fair. The thing is, we're gonna have those couple months of doubt and like not necessarily doubt, but like speculation on, okay, this is just another Switch. I need to see the specs. I need to see what this thing can do. Because I will talk about this more later. I love the new art style for Mario Kart. But on a first glance, it doesn't look any better than 8.
Yeah,
If you really look like really into like the like little polygon counts of like the steering wheel and stuff like that, it's miles better.
yeah.
But just on that brief glance, it doesn't look much better.
Yeah, so that's another thing too, is they didn't even sell you on the graphics, but I think for a lot of people that sold them, it's just like even the casual fan knows that Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014.
I
So,
mean, they had a I think they had a choice. They could have shown Mario Kart, or they could have shown 3D Mario, or they could have been even more boring and showed Metroid Prime.
mhm,
Metroid Prime doesn't have that wide audience. 3D Mario would have been great, but I don't think it's going to be the launch title.
mhm.
Mario Kart is probably going to be the launch title. It's the most sold game on the Switch, and it's got a lot of good changes. Like if you really look into the trailer, it looks like there's going to be 24 players on the track now.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So I we haven't actually gotten your perspective here yet because it's been a while. I mean, what are your opinions on what we know, even from the leaks? Like, that's okay. Like, how do you feel about the design of it? How do you feel about the magnets? How do you feel about the? I think we can pretty much say that they're mouse now.
Yeah,
How are you
I
feeling about that?
I feel great. I'm really loving what I'm seeing. I was really hoping for a Switch 2 for the longest time because I don't want to lose the hybrid feel. I know you could have gave it a different name, but the Switch is great. It's backwards compatible, which was my biggest wish because even day one on this new system, I've got a massive lineup of games I can play on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if you
the
really think
magnet,
about it, this has to be. You can't even like question it. This is the greatest console of all time. Thinking
exactly.
about what we will get, the exclusives, the entirety of the Switch library and NSO. I mean, this is better than any platform other than PC.
Just because I have to say it, by the end of the Switch 2 generation, we're going to have all the 3D Zeldas on one system. Mark my words. Um,
Maybe.
it'll happen. But no, it's like you have the vast majority of the Wii U lineup. You've got a good bit of GameCube games. You've got all the Switch games. You've got a massive amount of third-party games. And then you're going to have a massive amount of new ones because of how well the Switch sold. Everyone and their mother is going to want to support it because they know how well it sold. They're not going to miss the boat
Yeah,
on
I
this.
mean, even Capcom was like, "Fuck it, just give them the newer Resident Evils. I don't care if it doesn't run
Yeah.
on there. Just take it."
I
Like, yeah,
mean, we've already had rumors of a bunch of Microsoft games. We've already had rumors of the two new Final Fantasy VII remakes coming. I think it's going to be like that for at least the first few years.
mhm.
Later on, when the let's say the PS6 and stuff come out, yeah, no, we're definitely not. We're going to be in the same boat we are now with the Switch. But I think people are already looking that far ahead and panicking.
I
When
mean,
I'm like,
think
I
about
don't
it.
think it's
If
me.
if their two biggest issues was drift and being behind, the
Yeah,
Switch Pro was going to come out years ago. Now that they know, and hopefully we don't have another pandemic, and also AI, I think we could I think we could get an around OLED time a beefier console by then, and it doesn't even
yeah,
have to be a Switch 3. It could just be a
exactly.
mid-gen refresh. It could be the new Switch 2.
But I think people are just sweating it way too much. Like Nintendo, bless Sawada. I love that man to the end of the earth. he was focused on the gimmicks. He was focused on being family friendly.
I mean,
I'm
this
not
was his
seeing that with,
magnum opus, if you
and
really
this was
think about
amazing.
it.
But I hate to be that person. If Iwata was still with us, would he have made the same decisions that Furukawa did? Like, would there be more like goofy kiddie games? And I'm not saying that as an insult, but it's like I feel like Furukawa's grew up with Nintendo games. He understands our perspective, and he knows what needs to be done. Like I'm sure he when he made the decision to call it the Switch 2, he was like, yeah, this is kind of boring. This doesn't scream Nintendo. But at the end
that
of the day, this is what's best for the business.
that's the other thing that the Switch One was missing is, does it scream Nintendo? And that's what I'm secretly hoping that they kind of come back to, is that, I mean, the OS is just so boring. I
Yeah.
mean, even like literally up until the last 2 years of Mario games, like Mario has just been sterile for the last decade, and so I'm hoping that there's still charm in there somewhere, and that we're not just getting business Nintendo up in their business suit and that's it. And
I don't think so. I've There's been rumblings of what the C button is supposed to do, and apparently it's going to be like their solution to voice chat and stuff like that. And I think that'd be great. I do think we're going to get a more lively OS. Like, I do think Nintendo's been listening. I just think they kind of made that decision not to do themes, not to do music and stuff like that, just because of how weak the hardware was, and they didn't want to slow down the OS. I don't think that's going to be a problem here. I don't think we're going to get something exactly like, let's say, the PS5, but I do think we'll have a
I mean,
customizable homepage. I think we'll be able to have something more attractive.
yeah, even the PS5 is like a little bit behind the PS4 still in terms of like OS, like charm. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
PlayStation never really had that much charm, but like I think the PS4 even had themes.
Yeah,
So
but at the end of the day, I think they know what they're doing. They might have a slip up here or there, but I think the best part about this is they've had years to refine and work on this system. That the Nintendo quality will be there when it wasn't for the Switch One. The Switch One was rushed. That's why I really believe we had Joy-Con drift. That's why we had the dock scratching the bezel
I
of
never
the
really
Switch
even
One.
I thought that was a joke. I never had that.
No, my launch Switch had that issue.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, this is my launch Switch right here. I know it has the Tears of the Kingdom Joy-Con because I was playing Brothership on it. Don't tell Nintendo. Uh, it's. I mean, it's still holding up. It's a little greasy, but I mean, this
yeah.
is
No,
it.
my Switch One has been long gone. I've had the OLED. I want to say since like early 22, so it's coming up on 3 years old. And yeah, no problems with it. But I mean, those early days, and I mean, they're never gonna tell you that Joy-Con drift is fixed because that'd be them admitting there was Joy-Con
I mean,
drift.
there's a technology that fixes that. It's
Yeah,
Hall.
I
It's
know.
Hall something or other. I don't
Hall
know.
effects or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, as long as it
and I
has
think
it, then it should be
yeah,
fine.
but they're never gonna admit to you that Joy-Con drift is fixed because they're not gonna ever admit that Joy-Con drift was a thing.
Right. Well, I mean, they kind of did. They're like,
They
hey,
kind
you
of
could.
did, but
Are they still doing the free fixes or what?
yeah, they are. But
Okay.
they won that class action that people brought up to them.
I
Like
mean, it's not really something you sue them over, but
people tried.
yeah. Well, I mean, regardless of being devil's advocate here today, I'm again the biggest thing is having that stress relief. Like, it's here. It's time.
I was just so tired of the rumors.
Like, I'm excited. I'm my like I said before, like my brain is flowing with content ideas. Like, I'm ready to go. My body is ready, as it were. Um, so okay,
We have a new Mario Kart after
yes,
11 years.
yeah, I know. All right, let's also go ahead and do Mario Kart. I think, is there anything else you want to talk about with the hardware? I think we just gotta wait.
I'm happy with it.
Again, I really hope that we see something of it between now and it's just something, because that's a long time to wait. Um, I mean, yes, we're gonna get the Switch One Direct in February, but like just a little something like, hey, by the way, the Switch 2's coming, just so you know.
I think the Super Bowl is the best chance at that. I really do.
All right.
Will it happen? I'm kind of leaning towards no, but you never know.
All right. Okay. So what everyone that I've seen that was reacting to this literally thought it was Mario Kart 8, and I don't know how, even though it's a new track. Um, but like it looks just the same. But all the rumors from like 2 years ago saying, they're already starting work on Mario Kart X. It's the most beautiful looking Mario Kart game, even topping 8. And I was like kind of iffy on that because after we got the booster course pass, it was just like, what exactly are these younger developers learning when the game looks like this? Like I wasn't bothered by it, but it's just like, how is it going to end up when we get a new game inevitably? Um, and I mean, good on them. They somehow, as far as I've seen, at least is on par with 8's graphics. That's I mean, as
See,
far as we've seen. It could be better. So
I
again, this is
feel like
like beta footage as far as I'm concerned.
I feel like Mario Kart X or whatever it was back in the day, it had a very turbulent development. Like I do believe they probably started working on ideas like right after Deluxe came out,
Hmm.
worked on it for a little bit, realized the Switch generation was going to be a lot longer than expected, and then
Hmm.
they're like, you know what, Mario Kart 8 sold
But don't
so many
forget
million
Tor too,
copies.
because Tor was
Oh yeah,
kind of
and Tor was
important for
around.
them.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think they kind of just went, you know what, we're going to shelve this for the next system. It's still selling. It sells so much every quarter. Let's just make some DLC. Let's keep that going. And then they shelved it for a while, just kept ideas. I'm so excited for this new Mario Kart, not because of like the content it may have day one. This genuinely could be Nintendo's like live service game for an entire generation.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like live service, but I mean like every couple months you get like a new cup or something for the
Yeah.
entirety of like
Because
the generation.
I don't expect Smash for a little bit, but like this is going to be. We basically got a little taste with the booster course pass, having that come out every couple of months. I
Mhm.
think this will be our replacement for Smash, or at least in our
I think
early
it's going to be
days.
even. I think it's going to be even more exciting than Smash because I mean, not only can you add Nintendo, I mean Mario character whenever you want, you can add a Nintendo character.
Yeah.
Like let's say you've got a new Pikmin coming out, ooh, and let's say Olimar's not already in the game. Ooh, add Olimar and like a Pikmin cup with like
Yeah.
just all Pikmin tracks.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk
Like,
about more speculation too, and
oh, we will.
a whole video for that. I just want to
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
we
like what
will.
we've seen, and just like even if it's like the graphics are on par, this looks massive.
No, it's gonna
It's
be
it
massive. Like
is we know 100% now. It is 24 characters at once. We've seen more than 12 on the track. Um, First of all, the base roster is insane because one Pauline is on it, and
so,
and
before we go too
Nabbit
far on that,
is on it.
oh, you saw that?
Yeah,
We haven't. Okay, we haven't had confirmation, but he's got a billboard
he's
or like a
definitely
little
coming.
sign.
Yeah,
He's gonna be in
no,
the
no.
game.
I think again,
Come on,
this
Nabbit.
is just purely speculation. I think everybody's coming back, and I think we're getting the tour costumes too. The reason why I
I
believe
could see
that,
it.
Peach is wearing a dress on a motorcycle.
Is she really?
She is.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna be getting
I didn't
like
even
a
know
shit
motorcycles
ton
were in
of
the
costume.
trailer.
No, there's
Ooh.
even ATVs, everything. And if you really look closely, in the background, there is a flat wall that you can clearly drive on. So anti
I see.
grav's
I need
back.
once we're done here. I've got like a couple analysis in my feed to watch. I'm so excited. But I was just scrolling through Twitter earlier and I saw that very blurry like little look of like the Nabbit logo, and I'm like, my boy made it to Mario Kart on
Yeah,
consoles.
yeah. So, oh man, it's not just in terms of characters, and the crazy thing is that the models on 8 Deluxe were okay. Now we're getting. I thought they were Mario Kart 64 models for a second. I was like, whoa, that's a little more wondery. But their squash and stretch from Brothership,
I
the
know.
the carts like are really high fidelity now,
Did you
and it's
not to
like
not to change topics too much? Did you see that new like item thing?
it could potentially be a wonder seed, but I really don't want it to be.
I
Um,
think it's just a new design for the item box.
okay,
That's my guess, but
But
I'm not
I
sure.
also feel like there's a lot of other places where item boxes could be and they just weren't there. So they were probably turned off for the sake of the trailer, which
I was gonna say it's
makes
the
that
game's.
more interesting.
It's an older build, I'm sure.
I literally saw that Yoshi logo and it's like a little hamburger shop, but I thought it was supposed to be a reference to Bucky's. It was like,
Look, it cracks me up so much that like all this hype, and we only have seen one track. That's it.
well, I don't know about that.
I think it was one track.
I think we're seeing a glimpse of not what we saw at the booster course pass, but potentially a bringing over of a feature from a game that you don't expect.
Diddy Kong Racing?
Arcade.
Where are you going with it? Are you like thinking of like the track like cups are just gonna like morph together?
I think that there is going to be multiple versions of the same track.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yes, sometimes like I think the multi-path thing is going to be just an added on thing. Like, multi-paths, part, the part tracks, three-part tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there's one more. I just can't remember. Um, crap. Eight brought it in. Um, I'm not remember, but it's basically just gonna be like that. It's just gonna be like
Gotcha.
another feature. Some tracks will have it, probably the tour ones when they inevitably
Hmm.
come as retros. Uh, this is going to be another one of those features where you're like, wait, why is Mario Bros. Circuit in another cup? No, it's a completely different track. Um, and I think, again, this is more speculation. I think it's because that we're going to have a single player campaign as well, and it's going to be very
I can
Diddy
see
Kong
that.
Racing esque. So,
I can see that. No. We have to talk about Donkey Kong's new design.
um,
That's huge.
people were saying it looks. I mean, I think it like a lot of people were saying like, oh, it looks like the movie, and it's like the first thing I thought of was like classic DK for some reason,
It's a
and
little bit of both.
so I was like, this is just as what would be a Wonder design basically because he wasn't in Wonder.
Yeah.
We're in a new era. I this is part of the reason why I don't want that thing to be a Wonder Seed, is because I want Mario to stand out in every game that he's in again. I want like the 2Ds, the 3Ds, they all to look different instead of Mario just being this sterile. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
he's a little shorter in Odyssey, but like he's a little stout in Odyssey, but like I want this is why I don't want it to be like just a 3D version of the Wonder model because I want him to be free again. Like this, the
I
first
feel
thing
like
I screamed out was like, "He's not sterile."
I feel like the Wonder Seed, while it would be a great item, I feel like it'd be very difficult to implement because it'd be you either have to have like set like wonder effects for every single track, like
Hmm.
and that just seems like a
That
lot,
would be like the general gimmick of the whole
or
game.
if you have like one and I feel like that's too constricting. Like don't get me wrong, Wonder
Yeah,
was a great game. Do not base your entire Mario Kart gimmick off of one 2D game.
yeah, and that's the other thing too. Why is it a Wonder Seed? It's supposed to be a Wonder Flower.
Yeah, exactly.
But like even
So
again, it wouldn't even make sense either because again, like I said, this regardless if the graphics are on par with 8, it's huge. Like the models
yeah.
look better. There's 24 characters on screen. I mean, just looking at the little bits that we've seen, way bigger than any Mario Kart 8
Well,
track.
we don't know how many characters we're gonna have. We don't know how many
Yeah,
tracks we're gonna have day one. We don't know what their update path's gonna look like. Do you know there's gonna be one?
it looks huge just from the two
It's not.
clips we've seen. It's massive.
Yeah. No, literally. It's fantastic. It's gonna be so exciting. I mean, it's not even like people are starving for 3D Mario, and that's only been coming up for what, 7.5 years?
I mean, yeah, it's
I was 13 when um 8 came out. I'm 25 now. I
how
I
old was I?
it's insane.
Two, 12. I was 12.
And I'm like, yeah, I grew up with Wii and DS, but I don't remember those like lead ups like I do for 8. So 8 was like the only one I really
I
had.
didn't even know the lead up for 8.
I
I knew the
mean,
lead up to
I
8
was
Deluxe.
I was kind of around for sevens because I had the Nintendo Power magazine back in the day, and I watched the directs for eight, like eight. That was when I was like really into like the Smash lead up. But it's like this is gonna be the first time like from the get go. I'm really gonna be watching for like every single announcement,
Yeah,
which is funny because this is not gonna be a long lead up.
yeah,
This will probably be out in like 5 months.
yeah. So that's the other thing too is I was technically around for the Switch One lead up. I wasn't around to make content though, and that's what I'm
Right.
excited about. Is like we're covering this from day zero, and that's what
Hmm.
I'm excited about. We're gonna be covering every time Mario shows his face
And every time Wolf Link does not show his face.
next month.
We'll see. I think honestly, I've kind of turned around. Not to go on a tangent. I think Wind Waker's this year and Twilight Princess is next year or something like that. We'll see.
Well, then it's gonna be
Watch when I
Twilight Princess 4K.
watch when I stop believing. That's when it'll happen.
Just stop believing now. Then it'll happen tomorrow. Twitter
Think I
drop.
haven't tried?
Yeah. I mean, we got less than Derek. Or sorry, Steve and John did. They had a 55-minute video. Um, I thought we were on an hour already, but I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Mario Kart's the
I
most exciting thing.
well, I mean, I not to like go too far off on a tangent here, but I think that April Direct is going to be legendary.
You think it's
Like
gonna be
I
on par than of was it 2019?
17 E3. Which one are you
Mm-hmm.
talking about? I mean,
Was it
that was
E3
my big
2018 or 2019? I can't remember.
19.
It was
I
19
mean,
because
look,
that was Link's
and
Awakening, that was Tears of the Kingdom, that was Smash.
that was Banjo and Smash. Absolutely, yeah. That's here's the thing though. I mean, right now I'm expecting a release date trailer for Metroid Prime. I'm expecting 3D Mario. I'm expecting obviously a full blown blowout for Mario Kart. I could see another Warriors game, and I could see something like Animal Crossing. I that would be massive. Oh, if all that
I just
came
want
in
to
one
play a new
go.
3D Mario. Actually, I kind of want to play Breath of the Wild, but I have to wait 5 months now. That's
I
your
will
fault. You
say
told me.
if anything happens and it's like this year's Zelda's like let's say Breath of the Wild, like a remake of Breath of the Wild, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
They no, just keep what we have. Just say, hey, it runs a
Exactly.
little better. Don't charge us
I mean,
anymore. Don't go crazy. Like, oh yeah, we redeveloped the game to work better on. No, no, no.
I
Just
won't even lie to you. If they did like select games, like, hey, if you already own it, pay us like $5, $10 and you can get a really beefy update. I'm fine with that. But I don't want to see re-releases of Switch games.
do you think that Nintendo Selects is dead completely?
Yeah.
Do you think that now that we're in the Switch 2 era, that are they just going to completely stop printing Switch 1 games? Because this would be the time to do Nintendo Selects.
That's actually a really good point. I don't know. I mean, I think we'll probably see like the heavy hitters like Smash Ultimate, Mario Kart, the Zeldas, Odyssey, but stuff like the old Wii U ports, stuff like that. I think they've already kind of stopped making those already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thankfully the game sold so well, there's ample copies everywhere.
Yeah.
And we are going more and more towards that all digital future.
Hmm.
Those are always going to be on the eShop.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it might be a little bit difficult to get it in person. If you can't get it in person, you can kind of just suck it up and download it on the eShop. Because at least,
Yeah.
because that's another thing, at least you're guaranteed to keep the Switch eShop for another 5, 10 years.
Yeah. And then
But
yeah, that's the other cool thing is that again, this is like we're getting the whole eShop. Please fix that damn eShop. God damn it, please. Like before the
but
Switch
I
2 comes out, like please. That was the other
but I
thing I was
mean,
gonna say. It, there is a thing, a little caveat with the backwards compatibility. They said some like some games just aren't possible at all, and it's like
it'll be like Labo,
yeah, but
Ring Fit Adventure.
Labo makes sense because that requires the actual Switch itself, but you can connect other Joy-Con, right? I would
I guess we'll
hope
see.
so,
You
because
can't connect it to the Switch, but I'm sure you can connect it like via Bluetooth.
yeah, because it's like, I mean, you can't switch it, but that was the point of
I
the
think they're
off.
mainly talking about like Labo.
Okay.
Like honestly, it's
Because
probably
that,
like
I mean, they said we'll have details at a later date. It might mean like here's a list of literally 5 games that you can't play.
exactly. It might literally be the Labos and another game or two that I literally cannot think of.
And
Like
when is this update, by the way? Because the website is up technically, but is there going to be an
April.
update? April, really? I mean, there it technically updates tomorrow too.
I
Um,
mean, you gotta think it's gonna be that April Direct is probably be like an hour long. It's gonna be hardware and software.
right.
We're gonna find out the price for this thing, the launch date, the games that are at least coming out in the first year. Like we're gonna get all that in April.
Right. All right. Well, I think that's it. I mean, clearly we want to talk about more about Mario Kart. So next month we'll do Mario Kart. I think. Um,
Perfect.
write it down. Write it down. Get all 12 of your cups ready.
Coconut Mall, Coconut Mall, Coconut Mall, Mount Wario, Coconut Mall.
DK Pass.
Yes. No, DK
Yes.
Mountain.
Got you. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I didn't even say this at the intro, but subscribe to us on Patreon because even at the $1 tier, you get access to exclusive videos and content a week early or a day early, depending on what it is. And of course, you can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, all that stuff. Not TikTok anymore because that'll be gone. And what else? Dubby. You can use our code CrazyCat for 10% off your order. Use our link in the description below. It'll automatically populate that. Oh, there's one more thing I had to say and I completely forgot. Um, oh, this video is going to be going out literally right now. Literally as soon as we're done up recording this, I we're gonna have a little bit of a bare bones fairy fountain on Sunday. Just letting you guys know, fairy fountain is back, or fairy fountain news, I should say, is back. It's gonna be bare bones, very slimmed down because I'm still working on those assets, but I had to make it return now because the Switch 2 was announced. So just letting you guys know, it's back. So bread. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.